Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get right home with you in the afternoon. Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And don't forget the radio station, icradio.media, where we are brand new Fox News affiliates. And we definitely, Dave Manning, thank you so much in New York for making that happen. We definitely appreciate that. Again, thanks. And also, if you have ideas for shows, or if you would like to talk to these folks right here, and send a message about any questions, Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey, and they're with Alabama Fair Tax. They'll be glad to answer those, and you'll be in the drawing for a book. And not only that, every Friday, I have drawings where you can win a restaurant card. So go on ahead and make sure you send any ideas about shows. If you'd like to be part of it, just send an email to Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. Thank you again for being with us. Definitely appreciate it. Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey are with us right now. They're with Alabama Fair Tax. That's alfairtax.org. And we definitely appreciate them. They're a staple of this show for how many years? I don't even know.
I don't even know. 2014 was the first show we did.
Was it? I don't remember.
Wowzer. So it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, next year, the show will actually be celebrating the 20th anniversary. Can't believe it. I was only 4 years old when that started.
I wasn't even born, Donna.
Anyway, it's been a fun run. We love we got the best audience.
I was just a little swaddling babe.
Yeah, I took your Tinker toys away from you. I remember that. But I'll tell you, we've all grown up, and we've grown up the right way, asking questions. We care about the country and where it's headed, and I'll have to tell you something. We've had quite a few events that have happened over the weekend, and with our President Trump, and at a rally, and God's hand was on that man.
Well, that's for sure.
Wow.
Actually, I think it was St. Michael the Archangel and God both put their hands up and said, nope, not today.
Had he not turned his head, we would be talking about a dead President Trump.
You know what? I've looked at that several times, and he kept turning his head and looking over there at a chart or something. So he turned back and he turned his head. And when that rifle went off, he turned his head just a little bit before that bullet passed by.
It's just unfortunate.
If he had been back here like this, I'm afraid he'd gotten hit.
Yeah, as we were watching it, I said, those bullets have got to go somewhere. They don't just stop. And it was really unfortunate that the man who was shot, protecting his family. So
they said he jumped on his family. I mean, just on top of them to protect them. So that guy's a hero, definitely.
Really, yeah.
But there's so many things that we've been questioning for years, and it looks like it's finally coming around to the truth.
Yeah,
I hope so. I just, it's been so long that I just, I've just seen the evolution of all of this evil in our country, and I just, I keep thinking, hoping it will end. But it's truly amazing. President Trump has, for all that he has been through, and he didn't have to be through any of that. He could have just been done his thing as a real estate guy. And he has done that for us. And I honestly am so grateful that he was willing to, when, as we were watching this happen, all the impeachments during his presidency, all the things that they tried to tie his hands during his presidency, all the people who were after him all the time, and then the lawfare, making up crimes. In fact, I have never yet figured out what crime it was that he was charged with.
Well, they're still after him. They're going to keep doing this until.
But and I told Chuck, and I had been saying, I said, there's only one thing left, and I just, I hope it's over now. I don't trust that it is, though. I don't think they'll quit.
I don't either, but they're really ramping up because the convention is this week. It's starting tonight.
Yeah.
So they're really ramping, and he was going to wait and come later, but he said, "Nah, I'm coming." So what gives me hope, because all of us, the everyday person, who's living on earth right now is having situations in their life. I mean, it could be family, it could be anything, it could be their businesses or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know we have some weird stuff going on too. And sometimes you think, well, there's no way out. But he's actually a wonderful, he is an example how he just keeps going at it. I mean, because even being shot at, right here at his ear, he got shot. And you can see him. And before they tucked him in the car, he was just putting his fist up like there. He was still for us. He was for, and that crowd roared.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell you what I think. There's going to be a lot of cheating coming on at the election. We all know that there will be.
Yeah.
But I still think even the people who were just, well, I just don't know them a little. I believe some of those are going to come on board this time.
Yeah. Well, the first thing he said when he got up in between the Secret Service was fight, fight, fight. That just showed you right there that he wasn't going to give
done.
up.
No, I didn't think he would do it. They were hoping that if he got shot at, he might say, well, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to run for president.
That makes a lie out of everything they've been saying about the guy right there. That just makes it a big lie.
The one thing that I expect to hear from them, from the View and all of them, is that he wants power so badly that he's willing to go through it all. And
he'd be willing to death. Most powerful people don't want to die.
I know.
They want to stay here on earth so they can be the king of whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy named Benny Thompson, representative from Mississippi, who ran the January 6th fiasco? Mm-hmm. One of his minions on his staff came out with this little X or something and said, "Hey man, that was a pretty bad shot. You need to go out and practice some more." Oh, did I really say that?
Yeah.
And she's no longer with the company.
Well, not only that, Benny Thompson is the one who wanted to take away his Secret Service protection because he was a convicted felon.
Yeah.
So, there is
all this stuff is coming to a head right now.
I think it's becoming visible to people.
Yeah.
So hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, you can't do things like this, and because sometimes, like, somebody will just keep on and on and on and on and on. You think, well, God, you said you would take care of these things, but it's got to be His timing. And so, I mean, it's like I'm just a human. You wouldn't want me to make a decision for you on what to do anything with. If you came to me and said, Donna, when's the best time for me to buy toothpaste? I'm going to say, I don't know. I mean, you find a financial person for that. I'm not smart enough to make those decisions. I'd rather just trust God with it. I mean,
Donna, God gave you the power when you were born. You just have to stand up and do something with that power. That's the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the whole point. That's what Trump is doing.
Yeah.
And even all these things, because I'm just telling you, I don't know of anybody in office anywhere that has ever been in office that could have taken all of the stuff Trump has taken, who wouldn't be in a padded room somewhere.
Well, there are probably more people in this country that believe in God now than before, because that was absolutely an act of God.
I would say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But there's so many things that I think that are about to happen. So I wanted to, and several emails came. Here it is. Several emails came about, because the election is coming up and what have you. And three people sent this one email right here. And this is about how could Trump find out, how could we get Trump interested, or do you think he may be even thinking about fair tax right now?
We've got, let's see, Mark Robinson's running for governor in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And as soon as this, I think he's going to be a featured speaker or the keynote speaker this week. And once he gets done with all that, he's supposed to get with the fair tax folks, and he's got an in. He's going to be with Trump off and on, with this campaign. So they're going to try to convince him, and he leans toward the fair tax, so they're going to try to convince him to get into his ear. And we've also got Steve Moore is on his advisory group. He's also on our advisory board. So next time he can talk to him, he's going to try to do it. So we're going to start hitting him up on this.
Well, you didn't mention Mike Huckabee, who absolutely is a fan of the fair
I don't know
tax.
how much reach the Huckabee's got right now with Trump, but I'm sure if he can help, he'll help.
I'm sure of it too. But Now, what Randy asked was, how do you know you're not wasting time with somebody? Because he heard you and you guys and me talk about this, and one indication, I think he's probably talking about this one. This one is where when you ask someone who's running for office about a particular thing, it could be about gambling, it could be about anything,
Right.
and when they say, "Well, we're just going to let the people decide," that usually means they're for it. I'm just saying 9.9 times out of 10, they want gambling. They're just shoving it off, saying, well, we're going to let the people decide about that. Yeah. How do you know when you have somebody who's really serious? Should you keep going after the people who are not serious?
I think you have to. We were at a meeting, sitting at a table with Tommy Battle several months. I guess was that last month?
A couple weeks ago.
And we had talked to him, had a meeting with him probably 5 years ago. He was running for governor at the time.
It runs away 2020. So it'd be 19 to 20.
Well, anyway, whatever it was. And he didn't remember us. He remembered we were the fair tax people.
We had our normal little stack of brochures there that we passed out to people, and the guys at the table had picked them up and they were looking them over. And he says, "Oh yeah, you're the guys that are going to change tax system in the state of Alabama."
But what he said though is, he said to the person who was sitting next, he said, "These people have been at it for a long time." And they keep plugging away, which is what we do. I am so convinced that it is the only way that it solves so many of the problems of this country that to my dying day, I will be trying to promote the fair tax. I
think this is perfect timing now for people. Folks, listen to me. Okay. Get information about fair tax. And let me tell you, this is the perfect timing. We're all tired of the swamp. And we all know, even if you didn't pay attention the past few years when Trump was president, all the hurdles he kept having to jump. And then what happened over the weekend, we do need to get rid of the swamp. And this would be an ideal, quick way to get rid of them.
I don't know that it would get rid of the swamp, but what it would do is give people
harder on them.
Well, what it would do is answer so many problems. For instance, it would bring manufacturing back to the United States. We desperately need that. We are an island that it's like Hawaii. They don't have anything there. They have to have everything imported. It's the same way with the United States. And that's one reason why we are in debt the way we are. And also, it solves the problem of Social Security and Medicare, which is absolutely coming to a head. I mean, people can say, we've had it for 100 years. It's going to continue. Well, it won't. It is absolutely a pyramid scheme, and we are reaching the tip of the pyramid. We can put it on a pay by year basis, which absolutely would save it. It would. There's so many things that it would do. It would give you your money before the government gets it, put you in charge, give you freedom. And freedom for a lot of people is very scary, unfortunately.
Do I get a say in this?
Sorry,
she always complains about me. Yep. Anyway, my input is it backs all of this up, and that's that. I think one of the key things is, I'm going to start getting a receipt, and on that receipt it's going to say 23% tax for on everything out of every dollar that you spend on new products and services for personal use, and it's going to have the amount of tax total that you pay there, and everybody gets to pay it because there are no exemptions for this tax. There are no income taxes to worry about, so you can spend all your money on this tax. And people are going to start looking at that and say, wait a minute, this is not much more or maybe this is even less than what I've been paying with the income tax and everything. What the heck's going on here, even with this 23 cents? Where is this 23 cents going? And people are going to start asking questions about, where's this money going? Who's spending it? Who are they spending it on? Why are there such big blobs of money that they can't account for anymore? We were talking this morning about the defense budget. There's 65% of that budget that they don't know what it's spent on. All kind of black programs they work on, and I'm here from the accounting department to check you out, because they don't get to see when it's a black program. So people will start wondering where is all this money going? Whereas now you don't have any idea how much tax you're paying because it's hidden in the price of everything you buy. And then you got the income tax with the exemptions and exceptions and all that stuff. And so you don't really know how much tax you're paying because of all of that. Mm-hmm. With the fair tax, when you look at that receipt, you said, I spent $50 on tax. I wonder what the heck they're putting this money into. It'll make a difference.
Well, they'll have to answer to it. And that's what we need.
Yeah. But it doesn't pick winners and losers, which is absolutely the thing. When you have an exemption or deduction, that means somebody is getting a privilege that you don't get. Mm-hmm. Or you may be getting a privilege that someone else doesn't get, but it feeds on itself. Mm-hmm. And it's not freedom. And that's what this country was based on, is freedom in the rule of law.
It was. Now, Sonia sent a message, and she said she thinks she figured out what we're paying in taxes.
Well, good for her.
She said she thinks she's got it figured out. So she said that she got her paycheck, and then what she's paid on groceries and all of her spending, utilities. She feels like we're paying way more than what we're supposed to be paying for. She thinks for every dollar she earns, she is actually spending 91% in taxes. Would you argue with that?
I don't. Well, some people, but I think in general it's 40 or 50%.
I think it's more than that. And then the reason I say that is because when you consider the embedded taxes, now I don't know if she considered that or not, but you're paying taxes.
Embedded taxes are like in your phone bill, your cell phone bill, your utilities, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the problem is though, this product is 16% embedded tax. That product is 28%. You can't tell. You don't know what you're paying in taxes. Mm-hmm. I don't care what she thinks.
And the money that's comes in from the people who actually have a job. So
it's not coming from people on welfare.
No, it's not. And I got a question about that in a minute, but I want to tell you something that just really ticked me off one time. And I just got to thinking about it, and I was paying my power bill. And so I saw down here on the power bill where I owed, like it was in the winter months. It was like, this was a few years ago, $500 and something, okay? Because I'm a cold-natured person, and so I've learned to wear quilts.
More clothes.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And so I saw that. But down at the bottom, it said, check this, and we'll give $5 more to people who are in need. So I paid it, and I put a little note on there. And I said, why don't you pay the $5 out of what you've overcharged me for? Because you're going to take the credit anyway. And they did. So I saw, it was like this thing they were doing. And then I saw where they said the power company gave thousands of dollars. And I'm sitting there looking at that ad thinking, no, we have to give them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gave $5.
Their note was where you checked off to take the $5. Then the power company, gave the money to the people.
Yeah, they did. We didn't get the credit for it. You're already overcharging me for the power bill. Now you want $5 more dollars. So this is another question that came out. What would this do? Because let's all get real. And I agree with this one. So this is from Candy. So Candy said, let's get real about this. Illegals are coming in. They're making more money than our vets are making, and our older folks, and that's all this kind of stuff. She said, but they're actually getting more money. Would this hamper, or would this be? Let's see how she said it. She said, would this be one way to stop this nonsense?
It would be a start, but all those people being let into the country, that's got to be stopped. That's the only way you get rid of that problem.
Actually, I saw
because you're talking about 10-15%, you get back. Well, 23% you'll get back out of that welfare money they're spending, but they're still spending 78%, 77% of that money that you gave to them in your paycheck. So you got to get rid of those people, or you'll never get rid of this problem.
Yeah, the thing about this is not a spending bill. This is absolutely a income revenue bill. So that it would not affect the money that's being given to the illegals, but it would collect tax on the money that they spend on whatever
At least it would.
Yeah, at least it would do that. Actually, interestingly, I saw that Greece is deporting their illegals. They are not. They've
They're
been.
I
wised
saw
up.
that. I saw
Yes.
that. Uh-huh.
You're going to see more of it too. I think Sweden is starting that too, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
So I mean, they learned their lesson. Of course, they've been at it longer than we have, but you know, it has to be done. There aren't that many. No, I'm not.
You can't survive if you let millions of people come into your country and then dictate how you're going to treat them and what you're going to pay for
No,
them and all that. You can't
no,
do it.
that would be like letting your child tell you how to raise them.
Well,
No.
there are people who do that.
Yeah, there are. So, but I have to tell you this: every time something happens, I wonder, did an illegal do it? The shot that rang out at President Trump over the weekend. First thing I thought of, could that be one of those cells of people? Because they're gathering in here. They're in little hidden cells, I think.
I think I heard that muttered out of somebody's mouth over the weekend here.
I didn't say that. Well, they really wouldn't have any reason to do it. I would think, well, except that they might be deported.
Yeah, they'd get. He said, "I'm going to deport you," and so they have a reason to do it.
That's why I thought that, because that's the first thing he said he was going to do. But day one, get him out. Yeah. So I thought, well, he's ticked off some illegal now, and they've killed him.
Yeah,
trying to kill him.
It seems to me, if you look at the people that do shootings, mass shootings, school shootings, and things like that, there's always a drug involved of some sort. Yeah, either they're on antidepressants, they were on, the kids that were on Ritalin, mass drugging children and people. I mean, he was only 20 years old. We have a grandson who's about that age, and
you wouldn't find him even thinking about doing something like that.
But he's never been on drugs either. Right. So I mean, I think, and I'm not talking about illegal drugs. I'm talking about prescribed drugs. Mm-hmm. So but unfortunately, what they won't do is actually feature that when they say, well, he was bullied. Well, there are people who've been bullied throughout.
I've been bullied. Yeah. I mean, I've been bullied.
Everybody's been bullied at one time or another.
Be a preacher's daughter. You're going to be bullied. So, I mean, but you just learn to pull your pants up and go on.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to move on.
Yeah. I mean, that could be a factor. I have no idea why people do things like that, but I think
they're influenced by a lot of gaming. Now, I know the Hollywood left, and I know all of the libs and all those people, they say, well, we want guns taken away and all this. Well, why don't we take away some of these videos these kids are playing? I'm talking blood, guts, the whole works. That needs to be stopped.
Yeah, I tell you, Donna, I have a problem. See, I believe in freedom, and I believe that, it's out there. And I don't know how you can legislate that, how you can stop. I mean, I think, being a parent, I don't know. I mean, there are people who want to take children away from them. There are people who want to take your children away from you if you don't affirm their gender. There are so many ways that can be abused. And I just, I think we need to,
there's got to be a way, because there's so many people who are killing. They're shooting. Someone lost their life over the weekend because
I think the answer it's obvious, and that's God. I mean, I think we have to.
But that's not being taught. I mean, homeschoolers. I'm going to tell you, the smartest kids you'll ever meet are homeschoolers. They just really are. Yeah. They got it going on. But I'm talking about the regular school systems. I like Trump's idea about just make an overhaul.
We're seeing vestiges of that, though, because some states are now saying you got to have the 10 Commandments displayed in your schools.
It's a pretty good idea. I would think even an atheist that owns a business would like to have the 10 Commandments up there, so that thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal. Okay, because I've had a business where it was the person I least suspected stole a ton of money from us. So I would think you'd want that taught in your home. Yeah. You would want it taught in school and place of business. Thou shalt not steal.
Yeah.
Just because that's a set of Christian values doesn't mean that they're bad values.
They're good values.
Mm-hmm.
They're nowhere in there except for thou shalt not have strange gods before you. That's probably about the only thing in there that keep holy the Lord's Day. Those two things right there. The rest of them are just honor your mother and your father. Don't kill. Don't steal. Don't go carousing with your neighbor's wife. I mean, who wouldn't want to be that kind of
That's my point, about that. I mean, okay, let's just say you are an atheist. I would still like to know that my employees don't steal from me. I mean, that's pretty good. Call it your creed, call it your whatever you want to call it, but that's not a bad idea.
No.
So I would love to have our elected officials not stealing from us in forms of whatever it is they do.
Yeah.
Like lavish parties and stuff. Okay, so I worked for GTE. GTE would give it for a number of years, and I treated that money like it was mine. I mean, I really did. People would laugh at me because I wouldn't go out and get steak, champagne, all this kind of stuff when we would go on these trips. We'd be gone at a conference for like a week, 2 weeks at a time. And they would just laugh at me. But what would happen is they would give us this per diem. And so we would keep receipts, whatever,
Right.
And so I would send those. And even my boss would laugh. He would say, it's okay to get a steak. And I would say, I happen to like chicken. I'm good with it. Like that. And they would say, and you never drink. And I would say, well, I just don't drink. I'm stupid enough. I don't need any, I don't need that help. I don't need to go out somewhere and drink anything. And I just didn't. But I would love to see, I know you don't have to go as overboard as I did, but I would just like to see some kind of a per diem, like you could only spend this much. I mean, they would actually say I could spend $100 a night on just junk. But I never spent anywhere near that.
Per diem has always puzzled me because, well, first of all, if I'm at home, I'm going to eat, and the company doesn't give you money to. I mean, it's part of you use your salary for that.
Per diem because otherwise you'd have to go. If you didn't go to the restaurant, you'd have to go to the store and buy stuff.
Well, I understand that, and it is more expensive to eat at a restaurant than it is to eat at home. So I don't have a problem with per diem. It's just that I've never understood why they don't just say, okay, we'll give you X number of dollars a day. It pays for your hotel, it pays for your food, and so on. The reason I was not a big fan of per diem. I'm a fan of the way they handled it when we were first married and living hand to mouth. I mean, we it was everything we could do to stretch that dollar to the end of the pay period, and Chuck had to travel, and at the end, after it was all said and done, we had to pay extra money for him to travel, and I just
that would eat at you right there. I could see, like they would have like the hotel. Okay, so they would have this deal worked out where. And they would pay like, say, $30 a night or whatever. This is back in the 80s. So and that was a lot of money back then. I mean,
right.
$30 to $50. And so, I was okay with that. I didn't have to stay at the plaza or anything like that. But it was nice, and it was a nice place to stay. But I would just look for ways to save my company money. I figured this, to me, and this is just an old-fashioned thought here, I'm pretty sure. But I kind of thought if the company I was working for was secure and they were able to make a profit, then that's job security for me.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I looked at it. And so I would just love to see folks, elected officials, act the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I got tickled at Jim Ziegler. So Jim Ziegler was like Alabama state auditor, and he was on the show one day. He said, I told them I already had a cell phone. They didn't have to cell phone. And I said, Jim, you're my dude. I said, you're the guy. You're the one. I said, I would love to see more people like that in office.
I know.
He moved the auditor's office to a lower rent district too, didn't he? Along with John Merrill.
John Merrill did the same thing.
John Merrill did the same thing. And I got I mean, that's why whatever they do, I'm on their bandwagon because they cared about. I mean, I don't make $1 million or anything like that, but what little bit I do make, I want to know that it's spent correctly in the government.
Correct.
Yeah.
And not spent on stupid stuff like champagne. So Robin Lydecker is running for office. She's running for Congress.
Yep.
And so her opponent is part of the squad. You know that.
Yep.
So they went to, I forgot, was it Italy?
She just voted against the SAVE Act too, which would keep illegals from voting in national elections. She voted against it along with a lot of other.
It's like they take a signboard out and say, this is what we're going to do, and then we're going to accuse you of doing it.
Yeah, and it's your fault because we're doing it.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for little pennies coming in, or dimes, or nickels, or whatever coming in, you wouldn't be able to be like this. I mean, it's just wrong on all avenues. Again, I respected GTE. I respected that company, and I just didn't want to be someone that they would have to have meetings about. But look at how she's overspending. I just didn't want to be thought of that way.
How does Robin think she's doing in the race?
Pretty good. I almost have to tell you, she got a shot in the arm. Silk from Diamond and Silk.
Oh good.
Wow.
Was on. There's the three of us.
Uh-huh.
So the three of us were on the show, and she got a nice shot in the arm from Silk.
Good.
Silk knows about her opponent being part of the squad, and about all the money they'd spent on champagne and all this kind of stuff. Of course, Robin's a lot like me. I mean, Robin would be like, "I'll bring my bottled water." I know Robin and I go overboard. I know we do, but there's just something you feel. I would love to see more people in office like that.
Yeah.
Who would just feel that I got to respect these people. They voted me. I respect them enough to where I want to watch how I spend their money.
Yeah.
I would just like to see that. Okay, let's go into a commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there, guys. We're a little bit behind, but that's okay. We got some good folks here on the show. We'll be right back. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday. And we begin at 1 p.m. Now, that's Central Time, that little C right there, Central Time. So we do begin then. So thank you again so much for watching. You can find us on television, Channel 182 Charter Communications, Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, thenewscasters.com. I'm so proud to be part of that team. I'm going to tell you what, Mr. Day, by the way, Mr. Day, he came from Days Inn family. His dad actually started Days Inn.
Oh,
And yeah. So he's owner of the podcasters, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's absolutely wonderful the way they give us liberty to be able to say the things that other areas won't let you say. I mean, I'm part of all the social media sites, and there have been many times I've been taken down.
Yeah.
But this is a good avenue. So if you can download the app, by the way. So download the app, and then that way, all you got to do is just click, and you're in. And they have I'm not the only talk show host they have. They got a lot of talk show hosts out there who do an awesome job, much better than what I do. So going ahead and clue in, you're going to hear some good news, some good things, up to the minute stuff coming in. I'm going to tell that Victoria girl is something else. Victoria, y'all know Victoria, and now she kind of runs things over there. And I'm going to tell you what, she's a female version of Donald Trump.
Oh.
She's in it. I mean, she's just all in it. And I'm just going to tell you a number of good folks that are there as well. And I definitely appreciate the opportunity. By the way, you can find us on the radio at iacradio.media. You can download that app as well. We are Fox News affiliates, and we're Fox News Radio, and we definitely appreciate that as well. Send emails to Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. But make sure you stay tuned. You're going to see folks like Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey. I'm going to start saying Mary Lynn and Chuck Bailey. Why am I putting his name?
Hey.
Well, I don't. A lot of times I agree with you, Mary Lynn. Sometimes Chuck. No, I agree with both of you. I love everything you're doing, and I wanted to say thank you. And for bringing this light in for us, because I didn't know anything about this until 10 years ago. And where you guys, Ann Eubank, whatever she says, I follow most of the time. I got to say this though, she was for Ted Cruz at first, and so I was a Trump follower. And so, but boy, I'm gonna tell you what, she's a Trumpster from way back now. She was Trump. But she told me about you guys, and she did drag me kicking to a meeting in Fort Payne, Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
I'm tired. I've got like a million things I got to do, Ann. I can't do that. And she said, you got to go. You're going to like this. And so I went, and man, 5 minutes into it, y'all had me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a small business owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing what a little good information over a steak will do for you.
Yeah. Didn't you have to bring your own bottle?
Thank you. I didn't have to bring my own chicken.
That's right.
So, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. The thing about the fair tax is it is such a different way of collecting tax, and people are just it's been 100 years of the income tax, and it's going to take some understanding.
Would you believe almost 111 now?
Yeah, it's the really amazing.
Too long.
Yeah, too long. But it is a total paradigm change, but it is absolutely the most fair. When you were talking about your business having big parties and things like that, or that the tax that's collected on that will be added to the fair tax, and now it's not. It's a deduction for them, so they would pay less income tax on the party.
But since there are no exemptions for them, they pay tax on everything
for whatever they spend. So, and that's the reason the fair tax actually is smaller, because instead of having just working people paying, or just everyone pays, everyone, and they're
even illegals.
Yeah, and people who don't pay taxes now would be paying it. So, again, it's. You can tell I'm passionate about it, but it really
that's the other marvel of the fair tax is that right now about 160 million people pay income taxes because they have jobs, and those people that give them jobs are forced to take income tax out of their paycheck every pay period and turn it over to the government. So all of that goes away with all the costs that go along with it, plus all the cost of a business determining how they're going to avoid taxes, which is okay as long as there's a law there that they can use to avoid it. It's fine. It's evasion that's the problem. So you got avoidance that the tax collection goes down, and evasion where they don't collect any tax at all for a given amount of money. All of that goes away, and you're just free and easy to to live your life, and then you pay a tax when you buy something, and
Well,
you're done.
it's also a control too, because
take that control away from you.
The government can say, well, if you buy these screen doors,
no, if you buy this electric car, we'll give you $7,500.
Plus, we're going to subsidize the electric car company with $4,000
a
sale.
Wendy's got a question for you, and she owns a restaurant, and she said, she's having to hold on, and business is bad, whatever. So she wants to know how this would actually help a restaurant.
It would help a restaurant because typically she's got employees, and if they're legal, she's going to have to pay income tax on them. Take it out of her check. She's got it. She's the one that's got it.
FICA, I think is what you're
FICA, and so I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Anyway,
we've been married too long.
you have Social Security, Medicare. What's the other thing? There's workman's compensation. All that stuff's taken out of your check before you can see it. So you start off at a loss when you get your check to be able to go buy something. So all of that stuff goes away, and you're not liable for that anymore. And so that gets rid of all the cost of doing that. Plus, they lose all that tax compliance. If you add up the number of hours that people across the U.S. spend filling out forms for the tax compliance, which is no value added what at all. It's up to about $500 million, $1 billion a year now, just to fill out those stupid forms. And so that's $500 billion that could be in the economy producing stuff that people actually want rather than a stupid income tax.
And more people would have more money to go to.
Plus, we had a study done, and that study showed that there's about $1 trillion worth of evasion every year because the government can't collect the money. People are pretty astute at how to skip on their taxes. So there's another trillion there. So you got $1.5 trillion plus there's a tax gap in there because of all the things that happen. You're up to almost $2 trillion that they don't collect in taxes every year, but they spend $1.5 trillion trying to collect it. It's just crazy.
Yeah. But the other thing that she would have is there's no business to business tax. And because of the embedded taxes, which average about 22%, the actual tax itself is only about 1%. You have right now you're paying taxes that you don't realize you're paying. You don't have a form that you fill out, and there's no proof of collection. But you when you spend money, you're paying the taxes on the taxes that were collected from every level of production. So it's because of that, people get to bring home their whole paycheck. That's one big thing right there.
Plus, as a typical person under the fair tax, they would bring home their $100 would be worth $130.
Right, but you've also because it would improve the economy, you would bring manufacturing and businesses back to the United States. So there would be more jobs available, and people would have more money to spend going to a restaurant.
Right.
And right now.
Oh, no tips on waitresses. They don't have to pay tax on that because they collect that money free and clear.
No, wait. You said it wrong though. You said no tips. No tax on tips. Yeah,
and the waitresses, whomever collect tips, they collect those and gather them up. And
that's yours. Somebody gives you a big $50, that's yours.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when they spend the money, they pay the tax then, which is where it ought to be done.
Right. So, I mean, I've never been a waitress, so I don't know how tips are taxed, except that I do know that they do assume that you get some, if you're a waitress or if you collect taxes or tips rather, that they assume that you get so many. And if you have a bad week,
I myself have never been a waitress either.
But no, I absolutely admire people who do that kind of work.
Yeah, we always try to make sure they're taken care of when they service a meal, unless they really just botch everything.
But as far as the tax on tips goes, Trump was talking about that, and I think that's
what makes me wonder if he's thinking about fair tax.
I hope so, because that does it all.
Does that sound like it? Because when I heard that out of his mouth, I thought he's going to do fair tax.
That's the first thing I thought too.
I hope so. I hope so. To go on to the fair tax for Alabama. We have spoken to the lieutenant governor about it, and one thing that really is something that the property taxes in Alabama are low compared to the rest of the country. But I was reading the other day, Florida is a no-income tax state. Their average property tax is over $10,000. Yeah. And my sister lives in Texas, in Houston, the Houston area, and she said she knows people who have had to mortgage their house in order to pay the property tax. We'd like to include the property tax for 1 cent more and actually be able to own your own home in Alabama. So if you have paid off your mortgage and you own your home, you don't have to rent it from the state anymore.
All you Alabama taxpayers, don't start running to get your guns to shoot us, because right now people that own property are the ones that pay the tax. You don't. Well, if you rent or anything, you're paying the tax and the rent that you pay. But
you're paying it, yeah.
The people that are responsible for it are the people that own the property. And so what we're doing is untaxing all those people, but then spreading it out over everybody that buys new products and services in the state of Alabama for 1 penny more. And that's, you think about it right now, if you go downtown Huntsville and you buy something, you're going to pay 9.5% sales tax. Well, our Alabama fair tax is, and the local part of it being added on there as a fair tax,
state, local, less. County. Yeah,
all of that's less.
It's less than 9%. It's actually 9%. Less than 8%. So, with the property tax, it would be at 8%, which is, I mean, that's a bargain. But the reason you can do that is because everyone is paying it, not just
the few people who are actually working.
Not just
that's the point. It's not just a few people that were. So if you're, again, we laugh about this all the time, but if you're a prostitute or if you're a drug dealer or whatever, you're paying too. Where these people never pay tax on anything. They don't report their income. And they're probably the ones who live in the nicest suburbs because they don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah. Well, they don't pay income tax, but they do. But the tax on tax on tax on tax
they pay that.
Is, they will pay that.
But
it doesn't go to the government. It's just like a wasted amount. It just there's no collection. There's no funnel to the government. It's just it's just a way to control people. So, but if you're just paying, if you pay in Alabama, if you would have no income tax, no sales tax, no property tax, and the total consumption tax would be about 8%. That's a bargain. That is, and plus, we haven't talked about the prebate today. For people who don't know, no one is taxed up to the property level.
Can you believe we didn't get any questions on that this time?
Well, maybe we've covered it.
People are starting to get it
because we have new viewers. Everybody needs to know about the prebate. That's a wonderful thing.
But the prebate is just because it's not taken out of your paycheck. You would receive a income just like Social Security is paid. It would be paid directly to you each month. It'd be 1/12 of the amount of taxes you would pay up to the poverty level for whatever your circumstances are. It has nothing to do with your income. It has nothing to do with how you spend your money. It has only to do with your family size. And there's no exception for if you're a gay couple or if you're a married couple or if whatever.
If you can prove dependence, you get an additional amount of money to cover that dependence.
Right. So I mean, it's so fair. I mean, I can't think of anything I don't know what you could add to the fair tax to make it more fair.
No, I don't think there is anything.
Yeah.
The guys that put all this together.
Celebrities that, they get divorced, whatever, they still want to be with each other, but they'll get divorced for tax reasons of all things. a lot of older couples are living together. The same old grandmas who would tell their granddaughters, don't you ever live with a man. Well, they're doing that now.
Yeah.
Flip the ticket.
Yeah. Well, now that's social engineering, and that's something the fair tax doesn't do that. It does collect the revenue, but there are a lot of bad things. I mean, just like you have people on welfare who can't have husbands in the house.
Right.
You got, I mean, which drives you to have single mothers. All of those, that's social engineering, and that is so wrong.
And it's all to get rid of the family unit.
Well, it is, and
family.
that's what the Communist Manifesto, their drive is to get rid of the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you don't have family, you don't have a network.
You end up with chaos.
Mm-hmm. So you
just
have
like we're
children raising themselves and being prey to what's out there. So.
I would love to see programs out there for like school programs, like the little thing we were talking about, and it's a big thing, where Brad and Larissa, my son and daughter-in-law, paid off their house in 10 years. That's not taught in schools.
No.
You mean, I just make an extra $100 per month on your house payment. Just $100. Sacrifice a little bit, put that in there. You can shave so many years off of that mortgage.
You can shave 3 years off of a 30-year mortgage that way and save, well, I guess it depends on what your mortgage is, but it saves a great deal. Whatever you add to the principal is no longer that. It's taken off the interest that is paid. So, it is. Economics is really important and
it's a good thing.
And people are not taught that purposely because it's easier to manipulate people who have no control over their money. And, and it's such a simple thing. I remember I was born in the dark ages, but we learned that.
I'm right behind you, girlfriend.
I saw the other day, I knew this had happened because I was in school before the Department of Education, which was Jimmy Carter's gift to the teachers union in 1979. So in 1979, the Department of Education was created, and from then until now, the United States went from number 1 in education in the world to number 24. Mm-hmm. So the Department of Education is not your friend, and it's not your children's friend. So, getting rid of the
people who want to keep the Department of Education is those that make money off of it.
Exactly. It's, there's a funny clip out there of the woman, the head of the NEA.
She's president now.
I guess she's the president of the NEA. Speaking to her group, I guess it was National Convention or something in Chicago. And all she could say was that
we got to do those things.
We got to get all those things. We got to get all those things and do all those things. And I mean, that was the entire speech. It's on YouTube.
It's on
YouTube. I mean, it's out there. We saw it on.
Send that to me. I need to chuckle. Send it to me.
But anyway, so
she was something else.
Yeah, but they wanted more money to do all those things, and
let me just keep sending you more. That's like the child that you may have. Mine's not that way, and yours are not either. But there are some people who have children who cannot be responsible. They just can't. They keep coming back, sucking money out of their parents. Are you going to continue doing that until you have nothing?
That's the problem.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. My theory of being a parent is that you take them for the first, until they reach majority, you give them everything to teach them to the responsibility, and you teach it in increments so that they learn the consequences when they're little. So when the consequences of lying, for instance, I saw Dr. I can't think of her name. She was a psychologist on the radio. She said her daughter lied to her one day. Her 6-year-old daughter lied to her.
Dr. Laura?
No, it may be so. I don't remember. Anyway, she said her daughter lied to her. So she told her daughter that they were going to go to McDonald's when she picked her up from school. And when she picked her up from school, they didn't go to McDonald's. And she said, well, Mom, we're supposed to go to McDonald's. And she said, well, I lied.
I lied to you.
Put me in jail.
See, that's where parents, they don't understand. A lot of the young parents now, especially, they don't understand. All you got to do is a couple of little examples like that, and pretty soon the kid will start picking up.
Well, they learn responsibility early, and if you have consequences that for the mistakes that they make, I'd much rather have them happen when they are. The consequences are not devastating, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't ever have their children have consequences until they are such
trouble.
Big.
Too late. It's too late. So Brad wanted to go to somewhere, the Birmingham Zoo. He wanted to go to the Birmingham Zoo, and he was 5 years old. His deal, of course, I'd have to go right behind him and fix it. But anyway, his deal was every morning he had to make his bed. And so we were getting up, and he said, "We're going to the zoo today." And I went, "Nope." And he just looked at me, and I said, "We're not going to the zoo today." He said, "But Mommy, you said we were going to the zoo." And I said, "You didn't make your bed up yesterday, and you hadn't made it up today." And then so he goes running in there, and he makes up his bed. From that point on, I never had a problem with him. Making up his bed. Yeah. I asked my daughter-in-law about that. I said, "Does he make up the bed?" She said, "It's the funniest thing." I was so I said, I taught him that lesson a long. Thank me for it. Okay. I taught him that lesson a long time ago. But he just knew from an early age, Mom meant what she said. And if people would quit giving excuses for the kids, you got to be tough love. I mean, you just got to.
It doesn't have to be tough. It's just loving love. It's it really is teaching your children and sparing them from having the heavy consequences when they're adults. And it's.
I'll tell you what, I think we've got the most responsible 3 kids you'll ever meet.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have been good kids.
Totally
we're really proud of them, but
and they'll always have something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. And you can have more of your paycheck if you just aggravate. I don't care. Aggravate them. Aggravate the people in office about fair tax. I mean, it's for your good. It's for your family's good. It's for generational. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing, and folks, you need to do that. How can we've got about a minute left in this segment? How can folks find out more information about fair tax?
Well, there's fairtax.org is the national organization, and then we have the Alabama Fair Tax, which is alfairtax.org. Love to have you come and look at it, and on the first page of the alfairtax.org is understanding the Alabama Economic Freedom Act. Chuck gave it a name. I would have called it the Alabama Fair Tax, but it actually describes on one page what the fair tax is, how it works in Alabama, what it pays for. And then on the back of that page, it has the prebate for different family circumstances.
And the magic of the effective tax, which means that a person has to, at the national level and the local level, the state level, a person has to spend about twice their amount of spending. Like if they
above the poverty level.
Above the poverty level, they have to spend twice the poverty level before they even start paying like 7% tax.
Yeah, it's
7% at the national level, and then for Alabama only a couple of percent. So it's not actually 23% over everything you buy. It's progressively larger as you spend money, not progressively larger as you make money. That's the difference between these two systems.
Also, what he said is true to a certain extent. It's that it has the curve never actually reaches 23% or to 8% in Alabama.
When you get close to half point, though,
no, I'm just saying but that's if you take the prebate, because that's an optional thing.
Yeah, some people live out in the woods, don't want anybody to know they're on planet Earth. That's
right. They don't take the prebate.
Okay, so whatever. Guys, we're going to have to call it a day. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you guys so much for watching the show. You don't know how I appreciate that. Absolutely do. And I love having wonderful guests like Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey. We're going to have to call it a day. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.
Thanks, Donna. It was fun.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.